What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today, completing 1/8 of our season previews with the Calgary Flames season preview. So we covered Anaheim, Boston, Buffalo, a Pacific and two Atlantic teams. We're now going to get to the second Pacific team. And Calgary's in an interesting spot. They're the definition of in the middle. Their GM is Craig Conroy. This is going into year 3. And coach Ryan Huska going into year 3 as well. Kind of brought in together. Tree Living was gone, Daryl Sutter was gone, and they decided to go into a bit of a retool. But the retool didn't really go as expected. Starting with the first line, Jonathan Huberdeau, $10.5 million until 2031. Absolutely not worth the contract. Huberdeau is a good player. He's still going to put up 60, 70 points a year. That is not worth $10.5 million per year after that 115-point season he had. Nazem Kadri, $7 million until 2029. There's been rumors about is that contract going to be moved. I think it's in Calgary's best interest too, but it's going to be hard to move $7 million for an aging Nazem Kadri. Connor Zary is still an RFA. If a trade happens among him and let's say Marco Rossi or Mason McTavish or something like that, I'll probably redo the preview. But for now, Zary remains an RFA. I do believe he will be signed by Calgary. Coleman, $4.9 million until 2027. That's hard to believe that deal is almost over. Backlund, $4.5 million until 2026. That's their captain. I think he'll re-sign and stick around for another year or two if he doesn't retire. And then Coronado, who they locked up, $6.5 until 2032. Line 3 have Sharon Govich at $5.75 until 2030. Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee, who they acquired both from Philadelphia, $4.375 until 2027 for Frost, $5 million until 2028 for Farabee. For the fourth line, you have Lomberg, $2 million for this season, Pospisil, $1 million for this season, and Klopka, $1.25 million for this season and next season. Other forwards, they have Kirkland and Hunt as depth. Ones to look out for, I would say Suniev and Hosnick, and then Cole Reshny, who they drafted this year. Not going to play this year or probably next year for sure, but definitely a name to watch in the Calgary organization. Defensively, you have Kevin Ball, who they signed to big money, $5.35 million until 2031. Rasmus Anderson, who's been the biggest trade target talk among anyone, $4.55 until 2026. He's an unrestricted free agent. Calgary should move him to get whatever they can for him while his value is super high. The rumors are he's going to go to Vegas. It's whether if they can make it work. If so, who's leaving Vegas? Because you got to move something out if you want to keep them. Of course, Vegas has lost Pietrangelo, so I guess they have a little space, but it's going to be difficult to fit him in. And then Vegas is just going to give him an 8-year extension anyway, so once he goes to Vegas, he's not leaving Vegas until he ends up being the next off the chopping block. Mackenzie Weegar, $6.25 until 2031. The surprisingly better part of the Huberdeau-Tkachuk deal. Weegar has become an elite, probably top 25 defenseman in the NHL. Miramonov, who they got in the... Which deal was it that they got Miramonov in? Was it the... It was the deal with Vegas. I know that. The Noah Hannafin deal. $1.25 million until 2026. We'll see if he re-signs in Calgary. Jake Bean, $1.75 until 2026. And Braden Pockel, $1.187 until 2027. In net, you have Dustin Wolf, who will be an RFA in 2026. He's been given the complete reins of the net as Vladar has moved on to Philadelphia. Prosvetov's listed as the backup at $950,000 until 2026. But also look out for Devin Cooley, who is also signing Calgary. The only two signings Calgary made, major signings, I should say, as that's the only two additions they had. GM Craig Conroy came out and said, hey, we're going to give young guys a chance to earn spots in the lineup. We're letting them know that we believe in them and there's spots available to come take. So for the Calgary Flames, their young guys hopefully are going to be making a move up. And hopefully they'll answer the call to Craig Conroy's challenge. Defensemen who are in depth roles, you have Joel Hanley, who's making $1.75 until 2027, which I thought was a little expensive for Hanley as a 7th D, but who knows. Parekh, who's the next big defenseman in Calgary. The reason they can afford to move off Anderson because Parekh is going to be excellent. Brustowitz is there, Jan Kuznetsov, as well as Poirier. There are a few other names in there, but I thought those were the four most important ones that had the closest to be making an immediate impact. And then we already talked about Devin Cooley being the goaltending depth. Wolf and Prosvetov being their probably the top 2 goalies, and they didn't lose much in subtractions either. Rooney has left in free agency, Vladar goes to Philadelphia, and Mantha went to Pittsburgh. So, not much loss, not much gain. So, for Calgary, they still have cap space even with those larger contracts. It's still a retool. It's a retool that's not a full rebuild because they still have some young players here. But the problem is they have these long contracts that they really can't get rid of, such as the Huberdeau and Calgary ones. Calgary's more movable, but Huberdeau, I don't think that's ever being moved. Last year, they finished 4th in the division, which is better than anyone else expected. I had Calgary finishing bottom 2 in the league, to be honest. And then this team came out and they proved everyone wrong and they tied for the last wildcard spot. They just lost the tiebreaker to St. Louis. 4th in the division behind Vegas, LA, and Edmonton. Better than Vancouver, Anaheim, Seattle, and San Jose. This is difficult because I could see them falling back to 6th behind Vancouver and Anaheim if they're letting some of the younger guys play. And let's say they let some of these bigger contracts go. Let's say Backlund leaves, Lomberg, Pospisil, they're getting some cap space. Anderson goes, Miramonov, Bean. There could be some major turnover in Calgary, and there could opening up the cap space into a very big, as of right now, free agent class. Maybe that's something they're looking to do. Maybe that's something they're gearing towards, and that's the plan. But Seattle and San Jose, I think they'll be better than Vegas, LA, and Edmonton are top of that division. It's going to be hard to say that they're going to be better than them, but we'll see. It's been weird because they've been out of the playoffs for 3 straight years, but not very far out of the playoffs. They've been in a frustratingly close if you're a Calgary Flames fan. 22-23 after winning the Western Conference, I believe, in 21-22, if I remember correctly. 38-27 in 17 overtime or shootout losses for 93 points. They finished 15th, so top 16, but no playoffs, so the first team out. 23-24, 38-39-5. Same amount of wins, but all those overtime losses became regular losses, so they only get 81 points, which was good enough for 25th in the league. But no one really saw them as bad. I thought that people thought they would get worse after this, because they figured they'd sell off some pieces, and then they don't end up making any trades at the deadline or really at the offseason. I mean, did they make any trades at the deadline even, now that I think about it? I mean, they moved Kuzmenko earlier, but they got Farabee and Frost back. They were in such a middle point that it was kind of hard to move anyone. And then 20-24-25, they go 41-27-14, so they win half their games. 96 points, which is the most all-time for any team to not make the playoffs. They finish 14th in the league, and yet they're the first team out in the Western Conference. So for Calgary, it's frustratingly close, but they're getting some draft picks now. They got Cole Reshny coming up. I think Reshny's going to be a pretty good player for this team. But we'll see. There's not really much to talk about with Calgary. They're a meandering team. Do I think playoffs? Not necessarily. Do I think they're on the brink of either going up or down? Absolutely. I think if Anderson gets moved before the season, I mean, I'll definitely be doing something. Or Zary, if there's some big turnaround there, there'll definitely be some, I think, losses, more extra losses in Calgary's season. But for now, they're a middle-of-the-pack team that I don't think is going to make the playoffs. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video, and I shall see you all in the next one. Have a good one.